Welcome to my documentary about the history of cannabis usage across ancient cultures. Cannabis, the psychoactive drug commonly known as marijuana, has long been one of the more popular drugs for spiritual, herbal, and recreational purposes. It is comprised of multiple strains, including sativa, indica, afghanica, and ruderalis. All four strains are grown from the cannabis plant, and each has unique responses and purposes. Sativa and indica are the most widely known and used strains. The historical uses of cannabis date far and wide throughout centuries of ancient civilizations. Thought to have originated for medicinal purposes in India, cannabis was a catalyst for medicine and spiritual purposes. Ancient India was one of the first societies to document its devotion to the drug cannabis in the Atharva Veda. The highly regarded text that depicted the practices for everyday life mentioned cannabis as one of the 5 most sacred plants on earth and refers to it as freedom for distress or a joy giver. Its popularity spread throughout Asia, as its beneficial effects seemed to prove themselves worthy. Medicinal and spiritual uses of cannabis were especially prominent in ancient China. Schools of thought like Taoism, Confucianism, and Shamanism incorporated cannabis into their daily routine. Cannabis throughout Chinese history has had major influence spiritually, economically, and medicinally as ancient China transitioned from its shamanistic and Taoistic era, which valued cannabis in a spiritual way as a medium to transition from a normal state of metaphysical being. The surgeon Hao Tao was famously known for using this influence as a surgery, as one of the first surgeons in China to use cannabis as an anesthetic and for it also to be recorded. His concoction is further explained in the reading. Very often mentioned is Hao Tao's concoction, Mai Fen San, or bubbling drug medicine, which he used as a general anesthetic before performing the skillful operations for which he was famous in his time. This changed the trajectory of medicine in the ancient world as more procedures and advancements could be obtained with cannabis. Cannabis was a common way to connect with those in the afterworld, a way that people could reach out to their deceased relatives. The discovery of an ancient incense burner in western China helped confirm this. The ancient artifact was recently excavated and highlighted in the Atlantic's article of ancient plots that hint at cannabis's early use as a drug. Discovering an incense burner with the fossilized residue of cannabis was a pivotal moment in the study of ancient psychoactive uses. It was most likely burned during a burial ceremony to provoke psychoactive effects between the religious leader and those attending. This could have been a means to connect the deceased in the ceremony and enter a medical physical state of being. Similar discoveries were made in India and Mexico. Both areas had ancient artifacts of pottery that contained residue of cannabis. In the article High History, Cannabis in the Ancient World describes the multiple pieces of pottery discovered in ancient India and across the world. The discovery of physical cannabis transported in pottery along trade routes emphasizes the global consumption and need for it. It also highlights the versatility of cannabis. Many were seeking for various reasons, ranging from spiritual use to those needing it to reduce their anxiety. Pottery was also excavated along Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, described in WSU's Scientists Identify Contents of Ancient Mayan Drug Containers. Their specific use is still unknown, but this discovery allowed historians to understand the cannabis use in ancient Mayan cultures. Jane Gosco details the use of psychoactives in Mesoamerica, mainly revolving around spiritual healing, spirit interaction, and ancestral communication, enlightening the wisdom in religious ceremonies of the community. The commonality of psychoactive usage between ancient cultures helps emphasize the significance it had in everyday terms and everyday life and the prominence it upheld. Throughout history, cannabis has been valued for its medicinal properties as well as its use in religion and spiritual ceremonies. Its prevalence among ancient cultures is versatile and unique to each society. Cannabis has proven itself to be an important psychoactive that is employed in various ways throughout cultures and generations. Thank you.